One of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to the weekend is that they leave it to chance. They don't have a strategy, they don't have a vision, and they don't have a plan. And guess what happens when you don't have a plan? The weekend takes control of you instead of you taking control of it. That's why so many people start the weekend feeling excited, but by Sunday night, they're filled with regret. Let's break this down. What does it mean to have a game plan for the weekend? It means knowing exactly what you want to do with your time before the weekend even starts. Think of it like this. When a football team steps onto the field, they don't just wing it. They have a strategy. They've studied their opponents, practiced their plays, and know exactly how they're going to execute. Successful people treat their weekends the same way. Now, planning your weekend doesn't mean you have to schedule every single minute. It doesn't mean you have to work nonstop or never take a break. What it means is that you are intentional. It means you make decisions ahead of time so that you don't wake up on Saturday morning wondering, what should I do today? Because if you don't decide in advance, distractions will decide for you. Why most people fail without a plan. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to waste time when you don't have a plan? Maybe you wake up on Saturday and before you know it, you've spent 3 hours scrolling on your phone, watching TV, or just lounging around without any direction. Then you tell yourself, I'll get something done later. But later never comes. By the time Sunday night rolls around, you start feeling guilty because you didn't accomplish anything meaningful. This cycle happens because there was no plan in place. It's like going to the grocery store without a shopping list. You end up buying things you don't need and forgetting the things that are actually important. When you don't plan your weekend, you waste time on things that don't matter, and you miss out on opportunities to grow, learn, and improve. The power of pre-deciding. One of the most powerful things you can do is pre-decide how you're going to spend your weekend. Instead of waiting until the weekend arrives and hoping you'll be productive, decide in advance what your key priorities are. Ask yourself, what are the most important things I want to accomplish this weekend? How much time do I want to spend on relaxation and how much on productivity? What are the distractions I need to avoid? Once you've answered these questions, write it down, put it on paper, make it real. This simple act of writing down a plan increases your chances of actually following through. Why? Because when something is written down, it becomes a commitment. It's no longer just an idea floating around in your head. It's a decision. How to structure your weekend game plan. Let's get practical. Here's how you can structure your weekend so that you maximize your time without feeling overwhelmed. Set your big goals. Identify 1 or 2 major things you want to accomplish. Maybe it's working on a side business, finishing a book, exercising, or spending quality time with family. These are your priorities. Block out time for growth. The weekend is a perfect time to invest in yourself. Plan at least one activity that helps you grow: reading, taking an online course, practicing a skill, or reflecting on your progress. Schedule downtime intentionally. Rest is important, but it should be planned rest, not mindless procrastination. If you want to relax, do it on purpose. Watch a movie, go for a walk, or spend time with loved ones. But don't let relaxation turn into laziness. Eliminate time wasters. Identify the habits that tend to waste your weekend. Too much screen time, unnecessary errands, or saying yes to things that don't serve you. The more you eliminate these, the more time you'll have for what truly matters. Stick to the plan. A plan is useless if you don't follow it. Set reminders, hold yourself accountable, and make sure you're actually doing what you set out to do. The weekend is a tool for success. Most people treat the weekend as an escape, but successful people see it as an opportunity. They understand that while others are wasting time, they can get ahead. They know that the small choices they make over the weekend determine the trajectory of their success. Think about it. If you spend every weekend improving yourself, learning, growing, and taking care of your body, you will be light years ahead of those who are just surviving until Monday. You will build momentum. You will create habits that make you unstoppable. And the best part? Once you start planning your weekends with intention, you'll feel better. You'll wake up on Monday morning feeling energized, not sluggish. You'll start the week with confidence because you didn't waste the previous 2 days. Instead of feeling like you need another weekend to recover from your weekend, you'll feel like you're already ahead of the game. Having a game plan for your weekend is one of the simplest yet most powerful things you can do. If there's one thing that can either build you up or break you down, it's the people you spend time with. The company you keep will either push you forward or hold you back. It's that simple. Your environment, especially on the weekends, plays a massive role in your motivation, your mindset, and ultimately your success. Most people don't realize how much influence their social circle has on them. We tend to think that we're independent thinkers, that we make our own choices, and that we control our own behavior. But here's the reality. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That means if you surround yourself with people who are lazy, unmotivated, and always making excuses, guess what? That's what you'll become. But if you're around people who are driven, disciplined, and focused, you'll naturally start to adopt those same qualities. Now, the weekend is where this really matters. Think about it. Who do you spend your weekends with? What do they talk about? What do they do? Do they encourage you to become better? Or do they drain your energy and pull you into meaningless activities? The power of association. Your associations determine your standards. When you spend time with people who have low ambitions, low expectations, and low discipline, you start to think that's normal. You start to think that it's okay to waste your weekends, to put off your goals, and to settle for less than you're capable of. But when you're surrounded by people who are always learning, always improving, and always striving for something bigger, that becomes normal to you. Suddenly, you feel uncomfortable being lazy. You feel the need to grow, to take action, to make progress. That's the power of association. Think about successful athletes. They train with other top athletes. Why? Because they know that being in that environment forces them to push harder. They don't want to be the best in a group of average people. They want to be in a group where everyone is excelling so that they have no choice but to level up. The same principle applies to your weekends. If you spend time with people who are always complaining about their jobs, their lives, or their circumstances, you'll start doing the same. But if you're around people who are talking about their goals, their progress, and their ideas, you'll start thinking at a higher level. Who are you really spending time with? It's important to take a step back and evaluate your social circle. Ask yourself, are the people I spend time with helping me grow or holding me back? Do they inspire me to be better or do they encourage bad habits? Are they working towards something meaningful or are they just killing time? Sometimes this can be a tough realization. Maybe you have friends who have been in your life for years, but they're not helping you become the person you want to be. Maybe they're always gossiping, wasting time, or dragging you into things that don't serve your future. Now, this doesn't mean you have to cut people off completely, but it does mean you need to be conscious of how much time and energy you invest in certain relationships. There's a big difference between being friendly with someone and letting them have influence over your life. Finding the right people. So, how do you surround yourself with the right people? The first step is to start looking for them. They won't just magically appear. You have to seek them out. Join groups that align with your goals, whether it's a business networking group, a fitness class, or an online mastermind. Put yourself in places where ambitious people gather. Engage in personal development. Read books, attend seminars, and listen to podcasts. You might not be able to spend time with a billionaire in person, but you can learn from their mindset through their content. Limit time with negative influences. You don't have to cut people off completely, but be mindful of how much influence they have over you. If someone constantly drains your energy, reduce your time around them. Be the person you want to attract. Like attracts Mike. If you want to be around motivated, high-achieving people, you have to become one yourself. Start attracting others who think the same way. How your weekend circle affects your future. The way you spend your weekends shapes your long-term success. If you're constantly around people who are going nowhere, your weekends will be filled with activities that lead nowhere. But if you're around people who are building, growing, and improving, you'll find yourself naturally doing the same. This is why so many successful people are careful about their associations. They know that even one toxic person can drain their energy and shift their focus. They know that their time is valuable, and they don't waste it with people who don't add to their growth. Now, ask yourself, if you continue spending time with the same people you do now, where will you be in 5 years? Will you be closer to your dreams, or will you be stuck in the same place? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know. One of the biggest reasons people lose motivation over the weekend is because they neglect the two things that fuel them: their mind and their body. They treat the weekend as a time to let everything go, to sleep in too late, eat too much, consume meaningless entertainment, and avoid anything that requires effort. But what they don't realize is that by doing this, they're actually making it harder to stay motivated. Motivation isn't something that just magically appears. It's the result of energy. And energy comes from what you put into your mind and body. If you're constantly feeding yourself things that drain your energy, junk food, negative news, mindless scrolling, then of course you'll feel sluggish and unmotivated. But if you're intentional about feeding yourself the right things, you'll have the drive to get things done, even on the weekend. Feeding your mind. Let's start with the mind, because everything begins with how you think. Your thoughts determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. So if you want to stay motivated, you have to make sure you're filling your mind with things that inspire, educate, and push you forward. Most people do the opposite. They spend their weekends consuming whatever's easiest. Netflix, social media, gossip, news, filled with negativity. They let their minds get lazy. And here's the truth. A lazy mind leads to a lazy life. So what should you be feeding your mind with? 1, read something that makes you think. Reading is one of the simplest but most powerful ways to stay motivated. A good book can shift your perspective, give you new ideas, and remind you of what's possible. And the best part, it doesn't take much. Even reading 10 pages a day can have a massive impact over time. Some of the most successful people in the world credit their success to reading. They don't just read for entertainment, they read to grow. They read about business, personal development, mindset, history, philosophy, things that add value to their lives. If you're not sure what to read, start with books that challenge your thinking, books that force you to see things differently, books that inspire you to take action. 2, listen to something that moves you forward. If you don't have time to sit down with a book, listen to something instead. Podcasts, audiobooks, interviews. These are all great ways to feed your mind while you're on the go. The key is to be intentional. Instead of listening to random gossip or meaningless chatter, listen to something that teaches you, something that fills your mind with new knowledge, new skills, and new ideas. There are countless podcasts and audiobooks that can give you the insights you need to stay motivated. Whether it's about mindset, success, health, or leadership, the right content can shift your entire perspective. 3, spend time reflecting and writing. Most people never take the time to reflect. They go through their days reacting to everything, but they never stop to ask themselves, what am I doing well? What do I need to improve? Where am I heading? Journaling or simply writing down your thoughts can be one of the best ways to clear your mind and refocus. It helps you process your experiences, learn from your mistakes, and make better decisions moving forward. You don't need to write a lot. Just a few minutes a day can make a difference. It's about getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper where you can see them clearly. Feeding your body. Now let's talk about the body, because here's the truth. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. If you don't take care of it, everything else will suffer. Most people see the weekend as a time to completely let go of their health. They eat whatever they want, skip exercise, stay up too late, and wonder why they feel exhausted by Sunday night. But the reality is, your body needs care every day, not just Monday through Friday. 1, move your body every day. Exercise isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good. When you move your body, you generate energy, and when you have energy, you have motivation. The key is to make movement a habit. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to spend hours in the gym, just do something. Walk, stretch, lift weights, dance, play a sport. Anything that gets your blood flowing and your body active. If you start your weekend with movement, you'll notice a difference immediately. Instead of feeling sluggish, you'll feel awake, alive, and ready to take on the day. 2, eat foods that fuel you. Food is fuel, and just like you wouldn't put cheap gas in a luxury car, you shouldn't put junk into your body and expect it to run efficiently. Most people use the weekend as an excuse to eat whatever they want. Fast food, sugary snacks, processed junk. If you eat foods that are loaded with sugar and unhealthy fats, you'll feel sluggish, tired, and unmotivated. But if you eat foods that nourish your body, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, you'll feel light, energized, and clear. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy food. It just means you should make conscious choices. If you want to indulge, do it in a way that doesn't leave you feeling drained afterward. 3, stay hydrated. Most people underestimate the power of water. They drink coffee, soda, alcohol, but they forget the simplest and most essential thing, water. Dehydration leads to fatigue, brain fog, and a lack of motivation. Your body needs water to function properly, and when you're not drinking enough, it affects everything: your mood, your energy levels, even your ability to think clearly. Make it a habit to drink water throughout the day. Keep a bottle with you and sip consistently. It's one of the easiest ways to keep your body energized and your mind sharp. Your mind and body work together. At the end of the day, your mind and body are connected. If your body is sluggish, your mind will be sluggish. If your mind is filled with negativity, your body will feel heavy and unmotivated. That's why you have to take care of both. When you feed your mind with knowledge and inspiration, and you feed your body with movement and nutrition, you set yourself up for success. You create the energy you need to stay motivated, even on the weekend. If there's one thing that separates successful, motivated individuals from those who struggle to stay consistent, it's emotional control. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions. If they feel tired, they rest. If they feel unmotivated, they procrastinate. If they feel overwhelmed, they shut down. But here's the truth: your emotions should not control you. Emotions are powerful. They can either fuel you or stop you dead in your tracks. The way you handle your emotions over the weekend will determine whether you end the week feeling refreshed and accomplished or drained and frustrated. It's easy to let emotions take over, especially when there's less structure on the weekend. Without a plan, without discipline, without conscious effort, emotions will guide your behavior, and that often leads to wasted time, regret, and lack of progress. So how do you take charge of your emotions? How do you make sure that your feelings don't pull you away from your goals? It all starts with awareness, discipline, and intentional action. Understanding emotional triggers. Before you can control your emotions, you have to understand what triggers them. Most people don't take the time to analyze their emotional patterns. They just react. Something happens, they feel a certain way, and they respond impulsively. But successful people take a step back and observe their emotions. Ask yourself, what situations tend to drain my motivation? What thoughts make me feel stressed or overwhelmed? What emotions cause me to procrastinate or avoid important tasks? For For some people, it's boredom. If they don't feel excited about something, they put it off. For others, it's frustration. If they face a challenge, they shut down instead of pushing through. Some people struggle with self-doubt. When they feel unsure of themselves, they lose all motivation. The key is to identify your emotional triggers so that you're not caught off guard when they show up. Because here's the thing, emotions are temporary, but the decisions you make because of them can have lasting consequences. Rewiring your emotional responses. Once you understand what triggers your emotions, the next step is to retrain your mind to respond differently. Instead of reacting automatically, you have to take control. Practice emotional awareness. The moment you start feeling unmotivated, frustrated, or overwhelmed, pause. Instead of letting the feeling take over, step back and ask yourself, what's really going on here? Many times, emotions are just signals. They don't have to dictate your actions. Reframe negative thoughts. Your emotions are often a product of your thoughts. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm too tired, or this is too hard, your emotions will reflect that. But if you consciously shift your thinking to, I can handle this, or I will figure this out, your emotions will follow. Move into action quickly. The best way to override negative emotions is through action. If you wait until you feel like doing something, you'll never do it. Action creates momentum. Even something small, like taking a deep breath, standing up, or doing one simple task, can break the emotional cycle. Use physical triggers. Your emotions are closely tied to your body. If you sit slouched over in a low energy posture, you'll feel low energy. If you move with power, confidence, and intention, your emotions will shift. That's why exercise, deep breathing, and even smiling can help reset your emotions instantly. Protecting your emotional state. Taking charge of your emotions doesn't just mean controlling them in the moment. It also means protecting your emotional state before negative emotions even arise. 1. Control what you consume. Your emotional state is heavily influenced by what you expose yourself to. If you constantly watch the news, scroll through negative social media, or surround yourself with complainers, you're filling your mind with stress, fear, and negativity. You can't expect to feel motivated if all you're consuming is mental junk food. Instead, protect your mind. Limit negative input. Choose uplifting, educational content. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. The more intentional you are about what goes into your mind, the better your emotional state will be. 2, maintain emotional balance. Weekends can bring extreme emotional shifts. One moment you're relaxing and feeling great. The next, you're stressed about the upcoming week. These emotional ups and downs can drain your energy if you're not careful. One way to maintain balance is by managing your schedule wisely. Don't overcommit yourself. Saying yes to too many things can lead to stress. Make time for both productivity and rest. If you work nonstop, you'll burn out. If you relax too much, you'll feel sluggish. Set boundaries. If certain people or activities drain your energy, limit your exposure to them. 3, use routines to stabilize your emotions. One of the best ways to keep your emotions in check is through consistent routines. When your days are structured, you don't have to rely on motivation. You just follow your system. For example, morning routine. How you start your weekend, morning sets the tone for the entire day. Instead of waking up and scrolling on your phone, start with something intentional. Reading, movement, planning your day. Evening routine. Ending your day with reflection, gratitude, or planning for the next day helps you stay focused and emotionally grounded. Movement and exercise. Regular physical activity is one of the most effective ways to manage stress and boost motivation. Building emotional resilience. No matter how much you plan or prepare, emotions will still come up, challenges will still arise, life will still throw unexpected situations your way. The real test isn't about avoiding emotions. It's about how resilient you are in handling them. Resilience means bouncing back quickly from setbacks, not letting temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions, keeping perspective, reminding yourself that whatever you're feeling in the moment is just that, a moment. One of the best ways to build resilience is through gratitude and perspective. When things feel overwhelming, take a step back and focus on what's going right. There's always something to be grateful for, always something to appreciate. And when you shift your focus to the good, your emotions naturally follow. Taking charge of your emotions isn't about ignoring how you feel. It's about choosing how you respond. It's about recognizing that while emotions are part of being human, they don't have to control your life. When you learn to master your emotions, you unlock a level of motivation and drive that most people never reach.